Okay, hello and welcome everyone to the webinar on bar bending schedule essentials in Revit for streamlining your project detailing. So I'm Pranami Bharali. I'll be your host for the webinar. Uh, I am a BIM specialist here at Capricorn Technologies. So we'll be taking forward with the webinar today. So before going to all, I would like to welcome everyone and take you through to the schedule planned for the webinar today. So for the schedule, first I'll give you a brief introduction of our company. So then we'll show you the live demonstration of how you can do rebar modeling and create your bar bending schedules directly. So for that we have speaker architect Vatsal Singhal. So he will be going through the modeling part and all the creating of the bar bending schedule. And at any point, if you have any questions, please feel free to post your questions in the Q&A. So we'll be taking a Q&A session at the last. So please feel free to do that. And at last, we'll be having the vote of thanks. Okay, so going through the company introduction first. So Capricorn is India's leading design and construction management technology solution provider for the AEC industry. So we are located in many locations starting from Delhi, Bangalore, Mumbai, even in Hyderabad. So we are here from 1987 and we have 20,000 plus Indian customers and we have a 40 plus BIM expert team here. So now Capricorn is part of a global group that is Arkan's company. So we are part of that now, and we are provided not only in India but also in the Americas, EMEA, and the APEC region as well. So we have spread it globally now. Okay, so not taking much time in this, we'll be moving directly to the live demonstration of it. So for that, I would like to call upon architect Vatsal Singhal, who is connected here with us. So he will be showing you the live demonstration. So I think Vatsal, you are connected. So over to you.
I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay, so thank you for the introduction. I'll just share my screen. Okay, I hope my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible.
Okay, so for the rebar modeling, for the bar bending, I have a small model, a basic model that I've taken, and in this we'll be doing the rebar. So for that, if you just go to the structure option, in the structure option, there are a lot of options for rebar. The reinforcement tab is there, the entire reinforcement tab is there. So for the reinforcement part, suppose there are different options over here. There's a foundation, there's a column, there's a beam, and there's also a slab. I've also taken a wall. So for different elements, we'll be taking rebar for each element. So we'll start from the foundation first. So for the foundation, I'll just go to my foundation level. And here I've cut a section for the foundation. There's a horizontal section as well as a vertical section. So I'll just select this. And over here, if we see, so there are different options. You'll have to always rebar in the fine mode. So you have to select fine from here. And whenever you select the component that you want to rebar, you get the rebar option up here. Right. So we just select this. And after that, there are some inbuilt shapes, the pre-made shapes that are there in Revit. Also, if you want to download the Indian context library, that also can be downloaded from the library section in Autodesk. So you can select just any one of them. So if we see, we don't have the actual shape that we want. I want a full shape over here, full U shape over here. If I just select this and I try to place this, so this is not a complete U. If I just try to expand it, this cannot be expanded. So I'll take a custom shape over here. I'll just select this. I'll go to rebar. And over here in the placement tab, you have the sketch option. I'll just select sketch. I'll select the foundation. And then I can sketch whatever shape that I want to. So I'll just make that shape. So I'm making a bar of 16 mm right now. I'll change it. So instead of 16 mm, I'll just take, say, 12 mm. So you can just go to edit type and you can just make different type of bars over here. You can also set the standard bend diameter, or if you want to change any hook length, so that can also be done from here. So So I've just selected this. Now, if I just go to the layout rule, so there's a single rebar right now. I want a distance of 150 mm, suppose between two bars. So I'll select a minimum spacing, minimum clear spacing of 150 mm. Right, and then I'll have to, if I just go to 3D over here, so you can see that it's not actually visible over here. So for that, you'll again have to go to the foundation level and maybe the section. You can just select it and then you'll have to turn it on in the 3D. So I'll just turn it on in 3D over here. And now if I just go to 3D, so now it is visible. So I've also set a color code for each of them. So in the visibility graphics, if I go, I have set filters for each type of bar. There's 8 mm bar that is yellow color, there's 12 mm bar that is red color, and there's 16 mm bar that is of blue color. So you will see color codes also over here. So suppose you've made this over here and then you want to make it on the other side. So you go to section 2. So whatever shape that you have taken now will be added to the family. So if I just select this and go to rebar, so that shape that we just made has been renamed as M17. So I can just place it over here directly. I don't need to create that shape again. I'll just select this and zoom it a little and place it on top of the previous rebar that we made. So that at the ends also it is not colliding with each other. Okay. Also, this needs to be turned on in 3D as well. So this is the view visibility states. In any type of view that you want to see the rebar, you just go over here and turn it on from here. You can see this has been rebarred. Now this shows as a single bar. Again, we'll have to change obviously the dimensions, the diameter for the bar. I have taken 12 mm. It will change to 12 mm and also the layout rule for this bar. I'll again just change it back to my minimum clear spacing of 150 mm. Right. So you can see this foundation has been rebarred. The same way we'll have to do it for the column, right? So if you see the column is right now, if I just go to any of the elevations, let's just go to any section or let's just go to any elevation. If you see the column starts from the foundation level and it goes up to the first floor level. So this is somewhere the column is being cut. So I'll just go to the NGL level. So there are different placement techniques for each of them. If I just explain that also, I'll just select the column first and I'll go to the rebar. So if you go to the different placement techniques, so there is a parallel to work plane where this would be parallel to the rectangle of the column. And if you want to insert something inside the column, that then you'll have to select perpendicular to uh, cover. So I'll just place a rebar inside. I'll just select this. And if you see, this will show as a single dot now, since it is going inside the rebar. So if I just place any rebar and show it to in 3D how it looks like, I'll turn it on in 3D. I'll just see it in over here. Just a minute, let me just check. Okay. You can see this has been placed. So this is actually perpendicular to the cover, and when you want it parallel, so it will be used at stirrup. So these are the two types that you can basically use while placing the rebars. So again, I'll go back to my NGL and I'll place the stirrup first. I'll have to again select the column, and you can just go to the rebar option there. From here, I'll be selecting the stirrup. So stirrups are pre-made over here. You don't need to actually create a stirrup. So if I just select this option, there is this stirrup and you can select a 8 mm bar from here. And then we can select parallel to work plane and it will be placed. I've placed it over here. Now I'll select the perpendicular to cover option and I'll place a bar. I'll just place a 16 mm bar over here and I'll use the different options that I have. So I'll take the rebar set and I'll take fixed number. So I've taken a fixed number of 3 over here and I'll be placing 3 bars on the other end also. I'll just select this and mirror this. right? And I'll just select these combined together and I'll turn them on in the 3D model so that they are visible in the 3D model as well. You can see now these are visible. So I'll just, for the stirrups, I'll give a spacing of, let's just say 150 mm or 160 mm. So instead of single, I'll take minimum clear spacing of, let's say, 200 mm. So at 200 mm, these are placed, but obviously these stirrups should not go inside the beam, right? So I can just also decrease the number of stirrups that I'm placing. I can just drag this arrow down and I can decrease this, right? Now I also want to edit this basically. So I'll just go to my back elevation and I can also edit the sketch of the rebar that I've loaded. So if I just go to just a minute, I'll go to edit sketch over here and I'll just create a bend over here. So let's just check. So I'll just create a bend over here by editing it. And I'll also just create a overlap sort of situation over here where it will be overlapping the bar that is above on the first floor. And I can just finish it. So if you see, the shape has now been changed. We've also created an overlap setting and we've also created a bend at the bottom, right? So I can just delete these as of now and I can just mirror these one. So I'll again go back to my NG level and I'll just mirror these, right? So it has been made for the column also. Likewise, you can also make rebars for the column that is above, and again, you can follow it on different floors, right? That is how you do a rebar for the column. And now for the beams, so if I just go to the beam option, I'll create a section. I guess I have already created a section for the beam. I'll just decrease the scale. Okay. Now I'll just select this and again I'll have this rebar option over here. Right. So again we can just place the stirrups first. Now this is the most basic structure that you can like do a rebar on. Obviously you'll have complex structures, so you can accordingly place the rebar in that too. I'll take perpendicular to cover so that I can actually go inside the beam, and I'll just take a 16 mm bar over here. And I'll again change the layout rule to fixed number. I have 3 bars over here. And on the other end, I'll change this to 12 mm instead. And let's just select it and mirror it on the other end. Right. Again, just select all of this and turn it on in the 3D. Right. So let's just go to 3D. And let's just again change this. So this needs to be done again and again for whatever, like how many times you do it, you'll have to change it again and again. Okay, sorry. So I'll just change this to 200 mm only. Now, in case you want rebar at different, like you want a different distance between rebar, so you'll have to create different sets for that. Suppose, I'll just show it to you. I'll decrease the number over here and I'll change it to 150, say. So because in beams, the distance between the stirrups changes, so that is why I'm doing this. So I'll just change it to 150 for now. And I'll also copy this. So I've copied it over here, and at the center also I'll copy, but for this I'll change the distance to 200. So you can see for different types, different sets, you can change the distance. Right. So there's a more distance in the center and there's less distance at the edge. So that can also be done accordingly for that. Right. So that is how you do it in the beams. Even if you want to create overlaps over here, so that also can be done by using the edit option. If I just select this, and you can just go to the edit option over here, edit sketch, and you can turn these down or at the top, whatever you want to. So this can be done easily. Right. Okay, so now once you've modeled rebar in the foundation, once in the beams and in the columns, so you don't have to do it again and again for every footing that you're making. So after Revit, like from Revit 2023 onwards, you have the option of propagating rebar. So if I just select this entire footing and I go to filter and I just filter out the rebars over here. And after that, I have the propagate option. So if you just go over here, in just a second. Okay, in this option, you have the propagate rebar option. So select propagate rebar and then you have align by host. So whatever host is selected, you can see the footings would be selected. So with the same layout, even if the size of the footing differs, so if you see this footing is big, this footing is small, it will still be placed with the same layout rule. And for every footing type, you can take a different layout rule. It's not compulsory that you take the same layout rule. Suppose you want a different layout rule over here. So you can change it for this particular footing. It will not affect the other footings with this. So if I just change it, just for your reference, if I just change it to 200, so this will change, but the other footings would remain the same. Right. So that is the advantage of propagate options. So if I just change it to 200 and 200 over here, so this is the biggest advantage over here. You can see that this doesn't change. This will remain intact, but the footing that you have changed, that will change. Likewise, it happens for the columns as well. You can see this is a bigger column, this is a smaller column. So if I just select this entire thing, sorry, if I just select this, go to filter and just select structure rebar. And then use the propagate option. So again, I'll have to use align by host and the host for the column up here. So you can see it is being placed, right? So you can place it in all the columns likewise, right? If at times it goes outside the column, you can just select it and move it inside the column. This is happening because this column is big and this column is small. So at times it happens. So you can just change it, go back to your NGL level. And suppose in this column it is going outside, so you can just move it inside. So I'll just use the modify option and move it inside the column. And then I'll also change the distance from both ends. So it will be changed. So it's not a very big issue. For this also I'll do. And then I'll decrease the length from both ends and then done. Right. So you can see this has been changed. Right. So you can do it for different options like this, as well as for the beam. If I propagate the beams also, that will also be easily done. I'll just select this, go to filter option, and I'll just select structural rebar from here. Go to the propagate option and select align by host. So in all beams you can place it. Right. So that is how you place it in the beams as well. So you can see it has been placed. It's just the center stirrup set that has been placed. I guess not all of them were selected, but yes, you got the process right. So that is the main thing that you do over here. After that, the slab is left. So if you just go to your plinth level and cut a section for the slab, so there are two ways where you can do the reinforcement of the slab. I'll show you both the ways. So if I just cut a section over here and Okay, so if you want to create a one-way slab or a two-way slab, for that you'll have to go to the section and you'll have to select the rebar option over here, and you have to sketch the rebar over here. So there's no pre-built shape for that one-way slab or the two-way slab. You have these shapes, you can just see if these work for you. But if these don't, so you can just again go to the placement option, select the sketch option, select whatever slab that we are talking about. I'll just select 12 bar from here. And you can just make a one-way slab or a two-way slab like this. So whatever the distance is, with that you can easily make it, right? And then you can just justify the sets over here. You can just select it. So again, you can see if you don't change the detail level, you will just see the rebar as a single line. So you'll have to change the detail level. Sorry, I'll change the detail level. I'll just change this to hidden line only. So you can see now it is a solid rebar that you're seeing. After that, just select this again, change it to minimum clear spacing of 150 or 300, whatever you want, right? So that is the concept. You'll have to basically sketch everything, and only then you can create a one-way slab or a two-way slab. But if you just want area reinforcement inside the slab, you don't want any one-way slab, or you don't want to define any cranks. So for that, you can just directly rebar the slab as well. So I'll just select this and show it in 3D first. And now if I just go to 3D, so you can just place it on the other end also. You can just create two sections and easily place it. Okay, let's just go back to our plinth level. Now, if I select this slab, I also have the area reinforcement option over here. This area reinforcement option, I just select, and you'll have to sketch wherever you want the area reinforcement. So I'll just sketch the lines over here, or else I'll just create a rectangle for now. I'll just finish this. So in this, whenever you select this, there's a tag created. I'll just delete this tag. You have to select this cross section that it is showing, and only then you can edit the rebar. So you have top major, top minor, top hook, top and bottom minor, bottom major, bottom hook. So you can just change it. If I just go to 3D, if I just change this to say 150, so there's this reinforcement that is completely out of the host. Let's just turn it on in 3D so that it is properly visible. Okay, so you can see this has been rebarred in two levels basically, not just a single level, but there are two phases of this, right? There is a major and a minor, both. So if you see over here, there is this top major, then there is minor as well. So two types of this can be done. This can also be done on the walls, not just majorly slabs, it can also be done on walls. So you have both options, right? Now these are surfaces that are basically properly straight. What if you have a curved surface? So let's just create a curved wall over here for that. I'll just go to architecture. I'll just create a wall. I'm just creating a wall that has like a different base and a different top, and I'll just make this, and I'll just finish this. I'll just increase the height. So what do you have a wall like this? What if you want to place the rebar on this type of a wall on the edges? You can obviously not place it in the center. For that you'll have to sketch the rebar. But if you directly want to place it through Revit, so how do you do that? You can just select this and go to rebar. So whenever you go to rebar for this type of bar, so you can just select a surface rebar. Just select surface rebar. You have to select the start surface. So select start surface. this as start surface. Then you select the end surface, and then you select the host surface. I'll just select this as the host surface. I'll just finish it. So you can see there's a bar that is placed over here, right? And after you press escape, you can just select it, and you can just change the layout rule to minimum player spacing or whatever you want. So this would be placed like this. And if you want it from top to bottom, that also can be easily done. Just select the wall again, go to rebar, just select start surface, select end surface, and select host surface. So this is again the host surface. So I'll just select this only as the host surface, and a bar is placed over here. So you can just select it and again just change the layout rule. So this can be done on each type of end, each end that you want to, and it will be easily be placed. So if you also want to change the cover for anything, you can just go to structure, and over here you have the cover option. So if you want to add your own cover, so you can just go to this option over here, and you can add any cover that you want to. If you want to change cover for any element, you just need to select that element. Suppose I just select this, and over here you have the cover option, top, bottom, and other places. So you can just change the covers for this as well. And if you want to make a customized cover, that I've already told you, go to the structure tab and go to the cover option. So that is all that we have from the rebar modeling. Now, if you want to create a bar bending schedule, for that, we go to schedules, and I'll create a new schedule, and I'll just select structural rebar. So I have structural rebar over here. You can just select this. Now I have different components A, B, C, D. If anybody is from the structure field, they know that whatever length we define, suppose there's a L shape rebar, so there's a option over there and the B option. So you can just select these according to your requirement. But I'll just not select these. I'll just select bar diameter. I'll select bar length. I also need the bend diameter. Bending detail is something new that is there in Revit 2024. It was not there before Revit 2024. So this also is something very important that we require. I'll show that to you. Then we require family and type. Hook at end, hook at start. This, if you want, you can just take. Then you want the total bar length. Model bar diameter is not something that we require. Quantity by rebar set. So how many rebars are there in that particular set, that is there. Rebar number if you require, the total bar length, and that is all that we require. Stirrup spacing if you want. Spacing also we can take. So we have these all that we have. So I'll just move the family and type at the top. Then bar diameter, bar length, bend diameter, bending details should be at the bottom. Spacing again. Rebar number, total bar length, bending detail. I'll just click on OK. Right. So you see you have the entire schedule over here where you have different rebars and everything. Right. So also the bending detail is there. The total bar length is there. So I'll just explain bending detail, and then I'll then show you how to calculate the rebar weight accordingly. So for the bending detail, it's just written bending detail right now over here. So I'll just move this to the sheet. I've created a sheet over here, and I'll just drag this rebar and keep it on the sheet. It's just loading. I'll just keep it over here. And if I just zoom in and show it to you as a bending detail, this is a straight bar. I want something. So it's a very big detail. You can segregate it in different parts. So if you see, you have the bending detail over here. Also, if you want to decrease the text size, so for that you'll have to create a different text, or you have to create a different dimension style. So let's just go to any floor plan. I'll just select this, go to rebar schedule, and in the appearance tab, you have the option where you can, just a second, I'll just go to the bending detail, and in the field properties, you can just change the text size over here. Right, so right now it is 2.5 Arial. You can change it. So suppose I try to increase the size just for your reference. And just a second. I think its size is very big. That is why it is not showing. Just a second. So just press enter. And if I just go back to my sheet, so you can see the size has increased. So from here you can change. So these sizes that you see, these are basically the sizes that are there in the dimensions. So if I just go to any section and I create a new dimension style, so suppose I just select this. Now over here you see there are different dimension styles. So I just go to edit type and I'll just duplicate it and I'll change it to 1 mm. Okay, okay, that is already in use. So I'll just select, I'll just write 1 mm and I'll change the text size to 1 mm. Okay, right. And I go back to my rebar schedule, go back to formatting, bending detail, edit, and from here I can just select 1 mm. It's there at the top. I'll just press enter. Okay, and let's just go back to the sheet. Now you can see the size has been decreased. So accordingly that you require, these are now, these like look perfect now. So this is the entire bending detail that you get over here. Also you have the rebar number that is there. You also have the quantity that is there in the rebar, right? You have the bar length for a single bar and then you have the total bar length. So that also you get. So you've got almost everything that is required in a bar bending schedule. Right. After that, in the end, let's just go back to the rebar schedule. Just a second. Okay. Now, what if you want to calculate the weight for each? Right. So there are different type of bars over here. Suppose you know that what is the weight for a 18 bar. You know the weight. What is the weight for a 12 bar? For that, you can just filter out any of them. And suppose I just filter out the 12 bar, and you know the weight that is there, that is of a 12 bar. So with that you can just easily multiply it, or you can just see whatever the length is there. I guess there is a 12-meter bar. So what is the weight of a 12-meter bar, and then you can just create a formula for that over here, and you can just easily calculate the weight for that. But if you want to combine all the weight together, and you just want to see what is the weight of the entire thing, so I'll just remove this filter. I'll click on OK. And I'll just show you if you can see my screen. So there's this formula that I have created, or there's this formula that is there. So this is bar diameter square, that is divided by 162.28. That is the density of steel, and then we multiply it by the total bar length. I'll just copy it. This that we've done in the end, that we multiplied it by 10 lakh and divided by 1 meter cube, is to make it unitless. So those who know about schedules, they also might know that we also need to make this unitless, uh, because we want to actually get the weight over here. So I'll just go to fields again and I'll just create a new formula. I'll write total bar weight, I'll let it be as number only. I'll not take any mass or anything. I'll just copy this formula over here and click on OK. So in the end, you see there's this total bar weight. So if I just calculate it, I'll just do one thing first. I'll just make it less, make the decimal places less. So I'll just take a fixed one and I'll just change it to 2 decimal places. And then I'll just calculate the total. I'll go to formatting, total bar weight, calculate totals. And in the sorting and grouping also, I'll have to calculate the grand totals. I'll just turn this on. And you can see the total weight over here is 1 ton 784 kgs. So this is actually in kgs only. So that is the amount of rebar that we have used in this small model. So this is a very small model. So you can also accurately check. I have used this actually on site. So it is very accurate. The total bar weight. You obviously have to calculate 10% wastage and the other things also, because this wouldn't calculate the wastage part. This will tell you the exact weight that is there, but on site there's a lot of wastage, so you also need to calculate that with this, right? So that is it from my end.
Yeah, thank you, Vatsal, for the demonstration. So, we'll be moving to the Q&A. So, Vatsal, you can just see the Q&A.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first question is from Muhammad Ruman. How can we provide crank for lapping? That I've also shown. You'll have to create customized shapes for that, and then only you can create. You'll have to decide whatever the lapping is there, whether it is L by 4, whether it is L by 3, and according to that, you can create the lappings. Also, in Revit 2025, that has like newly launched, you also have the option where you can create lappings customized that you're talking about. So it becomes a little more easier over there, right? Now the second question is, what is rebar cut length reduction due to 90 degrees bend? So this again, you'll have to calculate accordingly with whatever the length that is there, right? Uh, can you repeat once again for the curved surface? For that, we can just see the video again if we get that. Okay, if you want to model it in trapezoidal shape, triangular shape, or any other shape, you don't have these options that are inbuilt. So there's this question, if you want it as a trapezoidal shape, triangular, or other shape, there are no inbuilt shape in any of the countries that you download a library for. You'll have to create a customized shape for that by using the sketch method that I just showed while we were creating the rebar for the foundation, right? Please explain about cut length reduction due to bar bending. If you can like just elaborate a little. I did not understand this question. Okay, if you want to do a rebar in the staircase, you can just cut a section through the staircase. And then if it is a folded plate staircase, you have a stirrup option over here that you can select. If it is a waist slab staircase, for that you can directly use the option of placing straight rebars over there and then editing it and then giving it a distance. And after that, obviously, there will be a brick like brick steps over there. If it is a concrete step only, then accordingly you can create it. For the propagate option, you can just select that rebar, and in the modify option, you'll have the propagate option. How do the bar elements impact the file size? May I know the file size of your model before and after placing the rebars? So I actually don't know. I'll have to just check that. I'll just tell you. So it doesn't increase a lot. Uh, if if you don't want a very heavy file, so just don't show it in all 3D. Just show a single bar in 3D so that the file doesn't become very heavy. Can we define the maximum bar length as 12 mm? Meter, can the tool optimize the cut length to suit the length and avoid wastage? No, this is not actually possible over here. This will take the bar as it is, the length as it is. So it will not show you as a 12 bar and then you can optimize the cut length. That is not possible over here. How to create staggered bar for column main bar? I'll have to check that. Just a second. Okay, the staggered bars that we're talking about, I already showed it showed it in the columns, so you can just check that. Suggest the best workflow for importing STAD model to Revit. So STAD, I guess, has a inbuilt plugin that helps you import it to Revit, or else you can import it as IFC file and then place the rebar. I'll tell you, no load calculation can be done on Revit. So you can just do the modeling of the rebars over here. So you can just import the IFC model, or there's an import tool that Bentley has where you can import that STAD model to Revit. You can use that also. When draw rebar every time we want to turn on 3D view. Yes, if you want to see it in 3D, you can turn it on. If you don't want to see it and you just want to detail it, you can let it be in 2D only. AI plugin for automatic bar placement? No, it is not that advanced right now. You'll have to do it yourself. Can we get cut length and theoretical length from here? No, you cannot get a cut length over here. As I said, you'll have to add wastage over here. So we assume it to be 10%. That is accurately correct. How do the bars, how do the, just a second. Okay. How to create staggered main bar for column, that I've already told you. What is the meaning? Okay, so there's this question. I have one more question. I have lapping 1:6 ratio. What is the meaning? And please give me an example. If we have 32 dia rebar, then how can we give? So 1:6 basically means that if there is a 6 meter bar, you want a 1 meter lap. So that is what it means. You can create any diameter of the bar and then you can just take it to bar bending schedule. No, there is no other option of turning on the 3D. You'll have to do it for each and every rebar set. What is the working principle of partition in properties? Please elaborate a little so that I can understand. Okay, so if you want to make any cutout in the reinforcement area, you can just edit the slab and a cutout would automatically be created. How much variation will get BBS from Revit to manual? So as I said, a 10% wastage needs to be added over here for the cut length that we were talking about. Sketch free shape bar, whether the bar bending schedule with bar shape will come in schedule. Yes, any shape that you model would be there in the bar bending schedule. Cut length reduction due to 90 degrees bend as per IS code to diameter, whereas Revit software don't have code selection option. How is the software calculating cut length? This is not an Indian software. This is an American software. So it will not take your IS codes accordingly. You'll have to define them and calculate it according to your requirement. So this is the best answer that I can give you for this. How can we give tag for rebar and stirrup? So in the tagging option, you have the structural rebar tags. So you can just directly place it. You can also give the distance. You can also give a tag for the distance that is there between the rebars and the stirrups as well. What is the working principle of partition in property? So that I've already told you. You'll have to elaborate on it. Okay, so I think I'll just end it in the session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vatsal, for giving us your valuable insight. So, also thank you everyone for participating, and I hope it was an insightful webinar for you. So, thank you to all the attendees for joining. So, we'll be ending the webinar for today then. Thank you, everyone.